everybody, this is Zoe from No Safer Place and it is week 3 of the Zoella book club. This week I read Orbiting Jupiter by Gary D. Schmidt. Now I was really nervous about reading this book because I have heard a lot of mixed reviews about it, but I always like to give things a try and make sure that I'm not biased in any way when starting a book. So I went into this completely neutral minded and here's what I thought of it. The story is narrated by a 12-year-old boy called Jack. Now, I found this a very interesting concept because I don't think I've ever read a book where we've seen the perspective of someone of that age that is that young. So Jack is just a normal boy. He lives with his mum and dad on a farm. The farm is quite a big part of the book. Like, a lot of the activities that they do outside of school is pretty much all at the farm. Jack's family decide to take in a 14-year-old boy called Joseph. Now, he has just come out of juvie for attempting to kill a teacher, which when I first read I was like, wow, that is intense. And the most interesting thing about Joseph is that he is also a dad himself. He has a little girl called Jupiter, and I know you're thinking, what? This guy is 14 and he has a little girl already, which is exactly what I thought when I started reading the book. So this story is Joseph's journey into meeting his daughter Jupiter for the first time, really. The mum, Maddie, is dead. I don't want to say how she died because it kind of gives a bit of the story away, but she has died. So Jupiter isn't an orphan because obviously she has her dad, but he's 14 and can't look after her, and he's still a child himself, so he can't look after her properly, but he feels like he can and that he wants to. So this story is his mission into meeting her for the first time. Joseph has had a really hard life. He was brought up in an abusive household with his father, who he has just got away from after coming out of juvie. And this is a really hard-hitting book, considering it is told from the perspective of such a young character. It is really hard-hitting, I will say that. What I found difficult was I could tell that the author was trying to evoke these emotions in me. I wanted to feel sad, I wanted to cry, I wanted to feel angry and frustrated with Joseph, but I just couldn't. I will cry at pretty much any book that I read, but this one I felt like I was trying to make myself cry, but I just couldn't connect to the book at all. And it really upset me because I absolutely adored the story, but it just made me feel slightly uncomfortable. I feel like if the characters of Maddie and Joseph had maybe been 16, 17, I would feel differently, but I just found it difficult that two 14-year-olds would be having sex and wanting children. Just found it really hard to process in my head, and I was just reading some of the scenes like cringing and feeling slightly uncomfortable because of the age. And I wouldn't say I'm a prude or anything, but I just don't think it's very good to normalise underage sex and things like that. Not that it went into detail, it didn't at all, but there was no kind of repercussions for them doing this at such a young age and having children. I found that there wasn't enough emphasis that they'd done wrong by doing that. Obviously they didn't mean to have a child, I don't think, but I still felt like it should have been frowned upon rather than everyone in the story helping Joseph see Jupiter for the first time, if that makes sense. As I say, it is such a shame because I did absolutely adore the story, and if there had been a slight few changes, I think I would have absolutely loved it. One thing that I really did adore about this book was the ending. Obviously I can't tell you what happens at the end, but it is such a positive, uplifting ending, and I just felt so happy for all the characters at the end because obviously a massive tragedy happens. Again, I can't tell you what that is, but it all comes together at the end and you feel like it's ended on a happy note rather than the hard-hittingness like the rest of the book was. Now, I was going to do quotes for this book like I do with all the other books in the Zoella book club, but I just found that I couldn't with this one. I don't know if it's because the narrator was so young and I couldn't find things that I connected to as much as I can in other books, because there were some lovely things said in here, but they kind of spoil the story. So I found it really hard to find quotes for this one. I feel really bad because I feel like I've just slated this book, but it was good. I did enjoy it. I mean, I finished it in one sitting. I sat there and finished it in about an hour and a half. It was a good book, but just some slight things that I didn't agree with in it is the best way to put it. I hope you all have enjoyed this video. Let me know what you would like to see more of on my channel, and I hope to see you all again soon. Thank you. Bye.